So now we will be starting the another topic, that is the muscle tissue. It's a different other type of tissue which is found in the body of animals, and which has got different functions. So now we know that we are already familiar with the term muscles when we speak about the muscle strain, muscle stress, right? Muscle building and all that. So what is muscle? Muscle is a specific type of tissue which has got capacity to contract and relax. So it is able to regain its shape. When we provide a force to it, it will basically get contracted. Okay, it may be pulling force or pushing force. Okay, it get contracted, and after, when this force is removed, it will again regain its shape. Okay, so we can say it is responsible for stretchability. It can be stretched, and hence after stretching it can also regain its shape. This capacity of muscle make them so important for the movement of a body. When we say movement of carrying out any mechanical work for the body, when we say movement can be of different types, like the voluntary movement and involuntary movement. So the voluntary movements are those movements which are basically done under the consciousness of organism. Like suppose if I want to move my position from my home to the office, or I want to go out to a play, right? So that I will require to move my legs, I will require to move my hands and all that, right? So that will be a conscious decision. If it will be taken care by my mind, my brain, that whether I have to move or not. At the same time, there are different other movements which are basically which cannot be controlled by us, like the movement of heart. I cannot stop my heart beating, and so it's not basically under my control. Similarly, the movement of my peristaltic movement of the esophagus and the intestine is also not under my control. So they might be the voluntary or involuntary movement. Okay, so we'll see how they are conducted, how they are taken care. Okay, like similarly, the muscles are responsible for providing the structural framework and the movement to the body. And this movement can be the external movement, or the movement can be internal movement of the internal body parts, like internal body organs. Okay, and it can be the movement of a whole body as well. Okay, and why are this so specific? Capacity is only present in muscle tissues because the cytoplasm of muscle cells, the cells will be having a long cylindrical fibers arranged within them, and these are proteinaceous in nature, called as myofibrils. These fibers are basically myofibrils. Somewhere wherever you find the term myo, you have to understand it is something related to the muscles. It is something related to the muscles, right? And the action causes the body parts to move. Okay, how this myofibrils will be basically getting stretched, and the movement will be responsible for the body parts to move. Now these muscles can again be two different types. It's a skeletal muscles, that is striated one, and the other one will be the unstriated one, and a smooth muscles, and the third one with the cardiac muscle. So we'll be starting with the striated muscles. Striated muscles can also be called as skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles, why do we call it skeletal muscles? Because they are found along with the skeleton tissue. That is the bones particularly. So they are attached to the skeletal bones. Striated, what does it mean? Striated means forming the layers. So suppose this is my one cell muscle, this is second, this is third. So they will be forming the layers. Here you can see. So these are the second one is the skeletal muscles, or we can say striated muscles, where the layers of the tissues are formed. Here we can say the layers of tissues are formed, right? So this is called as striated muscles, right? So similarly, what are the things? Striated and bundled together in a parallel fashion. They will be present in a parallel nature. A sheath of a tough connective tissue encloses several bundles of muscle fibers. So these muscle fibers will be coming together to form a bundle, and this bundle will be again enclosed by a proteinaceous sheath. These bundles will be also enclosed by a proteinaceous sheath, and these are responsible for causing the voluntary movement. So as I told you, what are the voluntary movements? These are the movements which are basically under our control. So suppose if I want to walk, I will have to stretch up my legs, right? I have to move them forward. So it is decided by me whether I want to move or not, whether I want to shake my hand, whether I want to wave my hand or not. So these movements are called as voluntary movement. So voluntary movement is caused due to the striated muscles, or we can say skeletal muscles, and these skeletal muscles are associated with the bones. Okay, and the involuntary movements are those movements which are not under control, like the movement of heart, the heart beating, and the peristaltic movement, all that. We'll see that. The striated muscles, after striated muscle, okay, one more thing, the striated muscles are unbranched and multinucleated. Now you can see over here, these cells, striated muscles, will be having multiple cells within them, within them, and this phase is called as multinucleated structure, where a single cell will be consisting many nucleus. In single cell will be consisting many nucleus. Okay, it is also called as syncytic. It can also be called as syncytic, right? So after the skeletal muscle or striated muscles, the other important type of muscle is a smooth muscle. The other important type of muscle is a smooth muscle. So unlike the striated muscles were having the blunt ends at both the terminals. You can see both the ends are basically not sharpened. Okay, but over here they are basically having a tapered end. You can see the pointed ends are present. Just next to this, these are the smooth muscles. So smooth muscles, we can observe that they have got a tapering end and a single nucleus present in the cell. So they are uninucleated. First of all, they are uninucleated and will be having tapering end, unlike this, unlike my striated muscles. Okay, so they will be having tapering end, or we can say pointed end, and forming a fusiform or spindle shaped structure. Now they are non-striated. They will not be forming the stack-like structures the way the striated muscles or skeletal muscles were doing, and they will be mainly present in the smooth part of a body. Okay, and responsible for involuntary muscles. They are responsible for involuntary movement, like examples like beating of heart, peristaltic movement of my intestine, stomach, and esophagus, and the uterine contraction, the contraction of urinary bladder. So these all are the movements which are not under our control, right? So this movement are basically taken care by the smooth muscles, okay, which are called as involuntary muscles. They are also found in the walls of internal organs such as stomach, intestine, blood vessels, and all that I just told you. So what are the differences between the striated muscles and smooth muscles? Just we can again revise it. First of all, the striated muscles are multinucleated, smooth muscles are uninucleated. Striated muscles are not having pointed ends, they are having blunt ends, while the smooth muscles are having pointed ends, or we can say tapering ends. The striated muscles they does show a banding structure. You can see over here, we can observe bands like present in them, light band and dark band, while in the case of smooth muscles you won't be observing any type of bands over here, right? So that can also be added as a characteristic. The striated muscles will be possessing the alternative bands, light band and dark bands, while the smooth muscles will not be showing any type of bands within them. Okay, and the striated muscles are associated with the skeletal tissue, and hence it is called as skeletal cells. They are not associated with the skeletal tissue, but they are present in the different internal parts of our body, internal organs of our body, which are comparatively soft in nature and which are comparatively what we can say delicate in nature, like the heart and stomach and all that, right? So they are called as smooth muscles, and they are responsible for smooth movement. Okay, the skeletal muscles are responsible for the voluntary movement, which are basically taken care by the consciousness, right? We can consciously take the decision whether to carry this movement or not, while the smooth muscles are responsible for causing the involuntary movement, like peristaltic. Okay, so these were the differences between the two, striated and unstriated or smooth muscles. Okay, the next one is the cardiac muscles. Now cardiac muscles both are unbranched. In the case of striated and smooth muscles, both are unbranched. Okay, next is cardiac muscle. So cardiac muscle is also striated. Striations mean, what does it mean? It means that they are forming these bands within them. These bands are called as striations. So we can see the bands over here in striated muscles. Now when we say cardiac muscles, even the cardiac muscles also show this banding structures. Okay, but they are branched. Okay, so cardiac muscles are branched, and they are basically again they are branched and will be showing these bands. They are also having this branches and showing the bands, and these are particularly found in heart only. This is something which we have to take care. and hence it is called the cardiac muscle. They are particularly found in the heart only. A cell junction fuse the plasma membrane of the cardiac muscles and make them stick together. We have already seen the type of cell junctions, that is the adhering junctions and tight junction and gap junction. So over here they are tightly packed with the help of fusion of plasma membrane. That would be the tight junctions will be present over here, and the communication junctions at some points also will be present, and these communication junctions are gap junctions, we can say. Right now there is one more thing over here. These gap junctions, this cells will be tightly packed together, but still they will be having the gap junctions, and this gap junction will be making them a whole unit. Although they will be having millions of cells together, but all these millions of cells together will be functioning as a single unit because of presence of communicating junction, because of presence of gap junction. So what happens whenever in the cardiac muscle, the main function of cardiac muscle is to basically carry out the rhythmic movement of the heart, okay, which will be again involuntary in nature. So whenever a single cell will be receiving the impulse, that impulse has to be transported. This impulse has to be transferred to all the cells at once, so that the rhythmic movement of the heart should be carried out. Okay, so that movement has to be carried out with the help of the gap junctions. So gap junctions are responsible for transmission of these impulses within these cells. Okay, so it is playing very important role. So they are having two type of junctions, that is the tight junctions between the plasma membrane, so that they can come in close, they can be packed in a closed manner, while the second junction, what do they have? They have got the gap junctions, which is responsible for transmission of impulses and hence behaving the whole tissue as a single unit. Okay, and these are involuntary muscles which is not under the direction of consciousness, like they will be continuously going on carrying out the movement, and this rhythmic contraction relaxation occurs throughout the life. So until unless the person is not dying, the animal is not dying, the heart will be beating as usual, right? So this is something what makes it so important, because it has to be wearing and tearing occurs on the daily basis, but still it will be moving on. Okay, so it doesn't get tired easily. The striated muscles, comparatively we can say they get tired. Like if we move so much, if we walk so much, if we dance so much, then the muscles of our legs and arms and body may get pain. But the smooth muscles normally do not get pain, while the cardiac muscles do not get pain, right? So because they have to work continuously, Okay, so that was about the different type of muscles. That's the striated, unstriated, and this cardiac muscles. Okay, and cardiac muscles are branched in nature. This is something which we have to note down. Next, the function of the muscle tissues. So main function of muscle tissues are, first of all, movement and locomotion of organism. As I told you, movement is any movement of any part of organism. Locomotion is the changing of position from one place to another. Second function it carry out is a response for heartbeat. As we told, heart beating is also due to the cardiac muscles, right? And the production of sound and peristalsis. The sound which is produced by the larynx is also due to the vibration which are caused in this muscle. So this movement of this larynx is also basically a type of muscular movement, and this is due to which the sound will be produced, right? And peristalsis, movement of esophagus, stomach and intestine, is also controlled by the smooth muscles, okay, which are type of they will be also continuously occurring inside the body. The muscles support the bones and other structures. The muscles are also responsible for association with the bones, so that the bones can how these muscles and bones are connected with the help of tendons, as we know that, right? So they will be basically responsible for movement for bones as well. They will be responsible for movement along with bones. Muscles are essential during the parturition. Parturition is the process of delivering a mature baby. So after the fetus get matured, it will be basically delivered outside the body. So that process called as parturition. And during this parturition also, the uterus of the female organism has to be contracted, has to be widened up, so that this widening requires a lot of movement, and this movement is also taken care by the muscles. Okay, so these are different functions which are carried out by the muscular tissues in a organism, in high level of organism. So that was about the muscular tissues. Now we'll be starting with the neural tissue. Or sometime if we can say neurons. Okay, neurons. So neural tissues in detail. There is again a chapter dedicated for this particular topic only, that's nervous system control and coordination. So they will be discussing about the functioning, how do they function, and what are different types of nervous tissue and all that. Right now we'll be just going through the brief about the nervous neural tissue. So first of all, these are ectodermal in origin. So we know that there are different type of germ layers, that is endoderm, mesoderm, and ectoderm. So during the formation of the body parts, during the formation of the embryonic stages, so these neural tissues are basically formed from the ectoderm. It is a developmental part. They are formed from the ectodermal germ layer. Okay, and these are the one which is responsible for receiving the stimulus. Stimulus, what is stimulus? So stimulus can be defined as any change which is occurring in a surrounding. So any change which is occurring in surrounding, how will we, this may be of different types. It can be the stimulus can be the changing, can be temperature, it can be change in light intensity, light type, it can be change in the chemical nature of the surrounding, it can be change in the pH. So whatever the changes, it can be change in the pressure, right? So whatever the changes occurring in surrounding is called a stimulus. Okay, and this stimulus can be perceived by us, not by us only, but different organisms, right? So these organisms are able to perceive, but when we are speaking about the animals, higher animals, we are considering the person human being right now. So whenever this changes occur, how will I come to know that the temperature is low or temperature is high today? Because I will feel that. Okay, so this stimulus is to be perceived by an organism, and this perceiving of stimulus is carried out by this neural tissue. This is carried out by neural tissue. Of course, we'll be having some neural receptors present on our epithelial tissues, and these receptors will be conveying these messages to the neural tissue, which will be taking these impulses to the controlling parts of the body, that is the center brain, it can be the brain or it can be the spinal cord, depending on the type of stimulus. Okay, so these are responsible for control over the body's responsiveness to now whatever the changes are occurring outside, how the body has to respond back, suppose there's temperature is high, so what will happen? The body will start perspiration. So this is how the body will be functioning. By accidentally you touched a hot pan of water, a hot pan which is lying on the gas, right? So what will happen? You will just remove the finger out from there. That's again a reflex action. So how the body will responding is totally dependent on this neural tissue. So they play a very important role over that particular thing. And this neural tissue consists of nerve cells and packaging cells. Along with the nerve cells, there are different cells which are associated with nerve cells, although they are not responsible for transmission of information, but they are responsible for assisting the transport or assisting the neural cells, maybe by providing nutrition, maybe by providing them the wrapping myelin sheath and all that, maybe by giving them maybe by repairing their damages and carrying out the different type of treatment to the cells, okay, giving nutrition and all that. So these cells will be also consisted as a part of neural tissues. So these packaging cells can be of two types. It can be Schwann cells in the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system will be consisting of the nervous system, autonomic and sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? Sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. We'll discuss regarding this type of nervous system in the control coordination. And the other type of cells are neuroglia cells, are called in the CNS, that is central nervous system, which consists of brain and the spinal cord. So these cells, along with the Schwann cells and neuroglial cells, so you have to keep in mind the Schwann cells and neuroglial cells are not exactly the neurons, but they are the cells which are assisting the neurons to carry out the function. Okay, so we'll be studying them in detail in later chapters. Now let us say the neurons, as you've already studied, it is considered to be the functional unit of nervous system. It is considered the functional unit of nervous system. The whole nervous system consisting of all the brain, spinal cord, and all the nerves which are basically spreaded around the body is basically a part of nervous system. It is basically formed due to the neurons. Okay, neurons make a network which is responsible to spread out throughout the body. So these neurons are excitable cells. Excitable cells, it means that they will be responsible for generating impulse, and they will be responsible for transmitting this impulse from one place to another. So they get excited. When I say excited, it means they will be excited by causing the change in their electronegativity, we can say, not electromagnetic exactly, but they will be changing potential difference, which will be changed within this across the membrane of a neuron, right? So this will be responsible for generating impulse, and how this impulse is generated and how it is transferred has to be dealt in the 12th standard chapter is there, control and coordination. Will be studying that. Right now we can understand that what is excitement of the cell, its generation of impulse and transmission of this impulse from one place to another. So this is specific capacity of neural cells which is responsible for its function. It has got different parts. The first part is cytone. Cytone is that part of a neuron where the cytoplasm is basically found. Actually the cytoplasm will be distributed throughout the neuron, but it is the main region where the cytoplasm will be observed. This is something where I can say, so this is my cytone, this is part is my cytome, where the cytoplasm is present, and along with cytoplasm nucleus is there, and other different organelles will be also present. Through this cytoplasm it arises this two type of different neurites, we can say neurites. The one is this is neurite. All the extensions which are arising from the cytone is called as neurites. All the extensions which are arising from the neuron is called as neurites. So these neurites can be of two types. The one which is arising in different direction in multiple manner is called as dendrites. These all are called as dendrites. They are in multiple direction and in high number. While a single neurite which is arising at a base over here and slender structure is called as axon. This is called as axon. Okay, and this axon will be again getting bifurcated in different other extensions, again filamentous structures, which is called as dendrites. Which is called as axon terminals. So the neurites can be of two types, the axon and the dendrites. Dendrites are those which are basically present towards the cytone region, and they are spread in different directions, and they are basically forming a filamentous structure and multiple in number, while the axon will be one single slender filamentous structure which is originated from the cytone and will be can be longer structure as well, and at the terminal of axon they will be again distributed and forming the thin filamentous structures which are called as axon terminals. Okay, now the cytone will be also consisting some other parts like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and specific structure is called as Nissl granules. Nissl granules are considered to be the ribosomes of neurons, and they are believed to be the structures responsible for protein synthesis, right? So that was about cytone. And the neurites, I told you, these are axon and dendrites, right? Now what is nerve fiber? Nerve fibers are the elongated and slender process of neurons. So when the multiple neurons comes together, they will be binding with each other, and these axons will be forming a unit structure, and then it will be forming a nerve fiber. So each nerve fiber will be consisting of many neurons. Each nerve fiber can consist many numbers of neurons will be present at the same time, and together they will be forming a fibrous structure called as nerve fiber. Okay, and what happens to all the axons will be, just a minute, I can show you. So what will happen? All these neurons, suppose this is my one neuron, right? This is second neuron, this is third neuron, this is fourth neuron. So these are different neurons are basically coming together, and they all are enwrapped, they all are basically ensheathed. They are forming a sheath. A sheath is formed over there, a layer is formed. Now we cannot differentiate different neurons. Okay, we are basically able to observe a single unit structures. Then this structure is called as nerve fiber. This is called as nerve fiber. Okay, so that was about this neuron and cytone, nerve fiber. And let us see the function of neural tissue. The main function of neural tissues are, first of all, it coordinates and controls the functioning of whole body. In higher complex organisms, it's one of the fundamental tissue which are observed in the body, right? So they are responsible for coordinating and controlling all the functions. The brain itself is made up of neural tissues. And the sensation of smell, vision, all the five senses which we get are basically through the sensory organs, and these sensory organs are responsible for conveying these messages to the brain and again responding back. So this sensation which we basically perceive is also due to the neural tissues. It is also responsible for meditating the conscious activities. Whatever we do and whatever we don't do are also taken care by the neural tissues, right? How basically they are, how the body is functioning. And the nervous tissue brings about an appropriate response to each and every stimulus, whatever the stimulus. If a stimulus is very big, so it may be causing a big response, right? And if the stimulus is very, like if suppose someone pinches you and it is not hurting you a lot, but still you will not be basically taking your hand away until unless it is so painful. But someone is touching a hot pen to you, or it is basically bringing a matchstick to nearby to you, or that matchstick is basically taken nearby you, then what will you do? You just run away. So that's another response. Okay, so that the level of response is also decided by the nervous system, and it is the site which is a seat of experience, whatever the experiences which we feel, and depending on the experience we start behaving, our behavior also changes, right? So this experience and the memory has got some gets collected in our body, in a brain particularly, and this memory sits in a form of nervous tissue, right? So this provides a sit for the experiences, memories that may be bad, that may be good memories. The emotions what you feel are also the part of nervous tissues, so they bring out some different manifestation in such a way that the organism will start behaving in different manner in different situation. So that all was about the neural tissues. So now next topic, we'll be starting with the organ and organ system, and particularly we'll be dealing with the different organs and organ system of the cockroach, frog, and earthworm. Okay, and till now we are done with the main four fundamental type of tissues. The four fundamental tissues were the epithelial tissues and their types, and the connective tissues and their types, muscle tissues and their types, and the neural tissue. These were the four fundamental tissues which are observed in all the higher level of animals. And now we'll see the organs. Now after the tissues we come to the organs, and then organ system, and we'll discuss about the different organ system of the particular specimen organisms. Okay, so that was for right now. For time being, we will be starting again with the organ and organ system.